tag you in there?
I don't know if it's everybody's just disrespectful. Alright, let's see. What you laughing at? Everybody, just no respect. Now, I want to meet you. Hey, Malika. Look at she on.
What y'all doing today?
Yeah, hopefully. Very little. Wait, can they see you while I take this? I'm trying to. I wish it was just this. Sorry. Her text. I think that's it. And then I want to put. You can talk to them. They can see you.
Hey, y'all. Hey, we're going to be started in just a second. We're running a little bit late because of the weather. So just bear with us for 1 second. And if you want to go ahead and get your taxes done with Square and McGarry Tax Prep, you can use Melissa for $75 off.
Look at you, selling girl.
Yeah, use the code Melissa and you can get $75 off your tax preparation. And you can go to what's the Instagram for?
At Square McGarry Tax.
Okay. You go to @Square McGarry Tax to go ahead and get all the info about getting your taxes prepared. Because it's that time again. It's tax time.
I got this one. I should have used that one. My connection. I wonder if I should move it. Because this one needs to be upright.
And we are coming in just a second.
I know, technical stuff. Yeah. Alright, it's official.
Let's
Whenever
go.
I need to push it back some, but I think it's alright. I'm gonna just be in your lap. Alright, I'm ready. Let us know if you can hear us. Your phone is just so clear, Melissa. Is this an Android?
Yes, girl.
I must admit, this is a nice, clear phone.
I'm Team Android.
Okay, not me. But I mean, with this clear screen. I put the right,
I know everybody loves their iPhones, but I'm Team Android.
Okay. Alright, Melissa, I know it's moving for me to walk over. I just want to make sure it's not.
We coming, y'all. We coming. Just give us 1 second. Uh-oh.
Yes.
How y'all doing today on this rainy Saturday? The weather's a little it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be though.
Oh, look, it's shutting down.
Oh Jesus.
I guess because of the it's saying signal, but I don't have anything. Well, let's just do Instagram. No biggie.
Well, never mind on Facebook.
I know. Boy,
We'll save it. You can save it.
I should and then go back. All right. So we're gonna get started. Facebook is giving me.
It's not cooperating with us.
It's not. It's all right. So we're gonna get started. Today we're talking about, don't mind me, home buying process. I know I'm always cut off. Melissa, I'm about to just be in your lap. Really cute too. So the home buying process and how to file your taxes if you're interested in the home buying process now or even in a couple of years. And that's the biggest thing. And I hope Malika is still on here so she can chime in. We should.
We need to do all because Malika
you let me
credit consultant.
Yeah, let me see if she look all right. She might be in bed. Malika, if you still on,
We
I'm
can
about
talk
to.
him, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to try to do.
Oh my goodness, that would be really good.
That would. Let's see. Nico, if you could keep it down. My daughter and I don't working. All right, let me call Malika. So this is what a live is all about. Because I don't know if she's still on. But we'll try to get her to chime in too. But with the credit repair, tax process, it's important to remember, hey, what you doing? Oh, because we was going to tag you into the live. Just text me when you can come in because we're going to talk a little bit about credit and it might be good for you to give some insight. I'm just saying. Let me know. No, you could just take your time. Take your time and text me. That's all right. I might call you if I have questions. All right. She in the mall. I'm in the mall. I can't do it now. But we'll text. So what people don't keep in mind during the home buying process is that they think, okay, I want to buy a house in 2020, so I'm gonna start doing my taxes from 2019. But that doesn't work.
No.
It really doesn't, because how many years?
You need 2 years of tax return.
Full years. So if you, like, we get some people who will call us, let's say this month, and they're ready to file their taxes. And they haven't filed taxes in 4 years, but they want to buy a house in 2020. I'm like, we can back file all of your taxes, but if your situation doesn't align to where you want to be this year, you may have to wait another year. And so, yeah, I mean, we can file your taxes. You can file up to 3 years and get a refund, and then a bunch of years before that. But what people don't understand is not filing your taxes and you want to get a loan of any kind will hurt you in the short term a lot of times. Because long term, you was living your best life. But when you're trying to buy a house, you're like, oh no, let me try to file 4 years at one time. And then, some of the years may not work for you.
So if you do go back and file, let's say your 2 years or your 3 years, is that okay? You can
you can file. We can file. So if you haven't filed 2019, which is this year, 2018 and 2017, and even 2016, we can file all of those. And even if you're due a refund, get you a refund if you are a W-2 employee or an employee. God, this phone is giving me life. This is just so clear.
Such a blessing.
Look at mine all dull. It's old though. It's old. That's why. It's old. It's an old phone.
So you can amend them too, right?
I'm sorry. I lost my. Yes. So you can. So we can file. If you haven't filed in a few years, people call and they're freaking out. Oh Lord, girl, Jesus, and one lady told me she was having nightmares. She was waking up out of her sleep because she hadn't been filing her taxes, and she just felt like the IRS was coming at her.
No, because I'm having the same nightmare.
The same dream.
They're gonna come and get me.
And that's what she said. She said, and so there you go. Y'all not alone. People call us and they think they're the only one having these nightmares. But she was like, I haven't filed in like 4 or 5 years, and I'm terrified that they just go come get me one day. So she was trying to get her life together. So we can file your current year, which is 2019, 2018, 17, and 16. And if you're due a refund, get a refund for you. Years prior to that, we can file as well. However, we have to fight a little harder for your refund, or we might not even get it for like 15, 14, and 13.
Oh, wow.
But you had a question about amendments. I got to step over one more time. I got to put the Facebook on.
And the reason I'm asking that, because that's a personal question.
I left the vulnerability free.
You got it? I'm actually probably going to amend my 2018 taxes because I think maybe I can claim more deductions. But for people like me that work for themselves and maybe they take a lot of deductions, the thing with that is when you're purchasing a house, they're going to go back 2 years on your tax returns. So whatever amount that you're showing on your tax returns is going to be what they're going to base your income on, qualifying you for a home loan. So if you deduct a whole lot of stuff, that's going to kind of mess with your purchasing power. So
can you explain what you mean by purchasing power?
Yeah, so they're going to look at how much income you have, and if you, let's say you make $100,000, but you deduct $50,000, well then your income is $50,000. It's going to be considered $50,000. So if you want to show your income as higher, then you have to not deduct as much things. And when you work for yourself, you deduct a lot so that you can help with your tax bill.
So don't lean out when I lean in. Don't come out. Melissa said she working on her vulnerability, so
I'm working on it because I'm by nature I'm kind of reserved to myself, but I'm working on all that.
Look, she came in, y'all.
I came in. You see that?
So call her out on it if y'all see her today, because I will be all in your face.
She's working on me with that. But call me out because I'm by nature, I'm working on pushing past that. So.
And Facebook people, if you're rejoining, thank you. We were talking about taxes, recapping how many years you can file. You can file right now and get a refund if you're an employee or self-employed. We'll talk about that in a second. You can file your current year, which is 2019, 2018, 17, and 16, and still get a refund if a refund is due to you. Right. And so Melissa asked a little bit about, it's so dark. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a shame. Melissa was asking about amendments. So I'm going to also try to keep in mind, y'all can start asking questions because we'll go back and answer your questions.
And you know what? I guess we probably need to say why you're the expert on that. So you probably got to say a little bit about
I just jumped in. I'll be ready.
I was just thinking about that.
I just be going, thank you. Thank you for that. So if you see on Instagram, we've pinned the tax page. Go follow us so you can get that $75 off. So my name is Sheikah Square. So I was in church and they said don't give your title when you give your name. My name is Sheikah Square. I go by Dr. Sheikah Square, which means I have a PhD, and my PhD is in business and administration. Thank you.
That's impressive.
Thank you. So I own a few businesses, one of which is a tax business. I got into taxes for a few different reasons. One of which is because in owning my own business and working with business owners, I was doing a lot of business taxes and figuring out how to get us more money. Like not give all of our money to the government and to keep more of it up front and not get it on the back end. So I got really interested in finagling. I'm going to just say that. And so I partnered with someone, and although, what happened is I really like the fact that I can help people get rid of fears, be more knowledgeable about taxes, and then learn some of the stuff that I learned 10, 15 years ago with the financial game and understanding that your taxes have to be filed a certain way in order to be eligible for loans, in order to not spend your money. That your taxes determine a lot about what things you can have moving forward. That a lot of people think if they get a huge, and I want to dispel this myth, and some of y'all gonna want to punch me in my face. When you get a huge tax refund, what it really means is that the government took your money all year long, invested it, made money off of it, and then gave it back to you at the end of the year. Right. And some people look forward to these major tax refunds, but all that means is that all year long you gave the government too much money. And so I try to get people to understand, if you really like those if that big money, you can get it all year long. And so it's really enticing to me to help people learn how to get their money, keep their money, and make their money work for them. And so we started Square McGarry Tax Prep, and passing on the knowledge, helping people get refunds, helping people with issues that they might have with the IRS, and yeah. So
you have 2 locations, right?
Girl, it's official. Yeah. We've expanded quite rapidly, actually. So we have something that I'm super excited about. We have a virtual location. So yes. Wow. So if you are not located in New Orleans, or some people like, look, I work all the time. We have tax preparers that can help you file your taxes via phone. We have a certified, IRS certified system where we can take all of your documents online. We can talk to you over the phone, and we can do your taxes and file your taxes for you. So that's one. We have a West Bank location if you're in New Orleans on 3400 Garden Oaks. And then we also have a location Bayou Road 2523, I believe, Bayou Road. And it's in the back of Community Book Center, if you're familiar with that area. So you can make an appointment, you can walk in. If you want to do it online, you make your appointment, and that's us. So that's a little bit about me.
That's really
but we about to jump into these taxes and home buying process. So make sure though, while we're talking, you're asking your questions. I don't see any questions coming through just yet. So we're gonna keep talking.
No. Okay.
You want to go? You want me to go?
No, you go ahead.
So what else do I normally hear? I know another big one that I hear or get questions about is people wonder, like, if they just had
So what's the name of the company?
Oh, You're right. Thank you, Rep Fitness. The name of the company is Square and McGarry Tax Services, and like I said, it's www.squareandmcgarrytaxprep.com. You can click the tag and go to Square and McGarry Tax and schedule an appointment and use Melissa's name and get $75 off. You know, we giving out the money.
Giving it out.
And so something that this is a simple one, but people get nervous about it. If you do not have dependents, you cannot file head of household. Yeah. So people think, well, I pay all my bills, but I can't file head of household because you're not head of anything but yourself. Okay. So you file single. So I want to talk more so about how this goes into the home ownership process.
Right.
I see you have some big things on. Let's talk about the mortgage deductions. You go first.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So one thing about buying a home, a lot of people don't realize, because I think people really focus on with like the child care credit, different things like that, where you can get a tax refund. But buying a home and owning a home actually helps you tremendously with deductions. So one thing that you can actually write off for your taxes is your mortgage interest, and that helps you a lot. So
I was just about to say, let's talk in terms of buying property. Because some people don't even want to live in them.
Yeah.
And so Melissa does them all. Investment properties, if you want to buy a rental property, you can write it off. If it's my first property, I can still write it off on my taxes.
You can definitely, like your investment property. So whatever you spend on that investment property, you can write that off of your taxes. So that actually helps you. A lot of people that have worked for themselves buy investment properties to help them with their taxes.
Yes.
To eliminate being taxed so hard. They use that as kind of like a tax, a buffer. Yeah. So
I think last year, the year before, the real BB Judy, Big Booty Judy, on Instagram, who is the owner of Kaleidoscope, bought a bunch of properties. She spent, I think, about $10 million at the end of the year, and a lot of people, thought she was buying it and showing it just to be like, but she was really using it as tax shelters. So she had made so much money during the year. What happened was, now it's time to not pay all of my money in taxes. So she bought properties for her business, to start new businesses, to rent out, and all of these things, to be able to have investments and to secure more of her funding. So it is a tax write-off. Something else people don't know is that if you have investments like a Roth IRA, you can use your Roth IRA to buy property. And then your Roth IRA will own your property, and then that also, look, she said brilliant. I know, right? And so your Roth IRA will own your property, and then that also reduces your tax liability. And so there's a bunch of different things you can do when buying property to help you not get hit so hard with taxes, and it creates a huge tax incentives. We also, I think Miss Carol is watching. If you want to add some good tax points, because I know you know.
You know what I was thinking about? Another thing, when you were talking about the IRA, one thing that you can do when buying a house is you can borrow against your 401k, and they don't tax you on it.
Because
they'll tax you, like if you just pull from your 401k before a certain age, they'll tax you. But if you actually use it for a down payment on a house, they're not gonna hit you like that.
So I actually did that. When I bought my first house, I used money from my Roth IRA, and I think maybe even a 401k. And I think for your first home, you can use up to $10,000. That's what it was then. I'll have to look to see if that number has increased. It usually increases, it doesn't go down. But you can use up to $10,000 for your down payment for buying a home. So that's also a tax shelter. And what I mean by tax shelter is you don't find yourself having to pay penalties and taxes on the money if you took it out to use it for something else. But if you use it out and you can prove that you use it towards the purchase of a home, then you don't have to pay taxes on it, and you would just provide us with your documents, and we would be able to help you write it off.
And you can buy a house.
And then, you can move out of the rent game. But, investment properties, because I don't want to I want people to tell us, what do you want to talk more so about? Personal property, first time home buyer, or rental, because it's completely, it's different.
It's different, yeah.
And I want to make sure we're answering your questions about it. So, but the first time home buyer, and I know there's other,
excuse me, my
let's
throat's
say
a little scratchy.
a little sinus issue today. And so those are some of the things. So I want to take some questions because I could just keep talking about taxes. But, it's important to make sure at the very basic level that you are filing your taxes much in advance to when you are planning to buy a house. Because they will ask you if you are self-employed. I know they want 2 years. If you are not self-employed, how many for the mortgage process? How many?
It's 2 years.
It's 2 years. I know. I thought it was an easier process, and I know for some self-employed people, there's some rules where. Oh, look at Miss Carol. All right, I'm leaning in. Y'all don't look at my face. Miss Carol says you can write off home mortgage interest only if you itemize. Under the new tax laws, the standard deduction has increased. So Miss Carol is over. What is the name of our mortgage company?
Shoot.
I'm gonna put it in the comments.
Acceptance Capital.
That is it.
Yes.
Okay. Don't beat me up, Miss Carol. Acceptance Capital. She has a location off of Canal Street, Miss Carol Johnson, and so she said the deduction has increased.
Okay, good.
For this year, so you can get even more off your taxes. And when people hear off, that means like your tax liability or what you owe the government. You get credits towards that. Because sometimes people will hear about the standard deduction being a few thousand or a lot of thousands and think that that's what they're going to get back. It's actually, it reduces your liability to the government, and then the monies that you are due comes back. So thank you, Miss Carol. Yeah, because some of the numbers, I don't be knowing all of the numbers right offhand. But, so let's see, another question, but y'all, I see y'all watching.
You know what I was thinking about? Okay, so like for me, if you work from your house or you have your own business, which a home office, that's something that's helped me tremendously. My house is a place of work. Yes.
So you can use. So what Melissa is referring to is if you are starting your business, or I know some people that run multi-million-dollar businesses out of their house. So it's not a shameful thing. Some people think if you have a business and you have a home office and that's actually a little smart. I ain't gonna lie to you. But if you have a home office and you actually have a home office, you can write it off on your taxes. What I do tell people is home offices are one of the most abused tax deductions. So make sure, and I like to tell people this side because I like people to understand, not to play around with some stuff. But if you have a home office and you actually have a home office, you can write it off on your taxes as long as you can provide proof. We don't actually need to see your proof. We need to see your numbers. You need to hold your proof in case the IRS ever asks you any questions. But you definitely can write it off on your taxes. You can write off if you have, so we're about to move into some of my favorite territory. Okay. Self-employed and business owner taxes are one of the most exciting things to do because something that people don't understand is if you have a side hustle and a job, you can actually get more of a tax refund. Especially if you're not in the market for a house. Let me just put it like that. If you're not in the market for a house, because we can write, like everything you buy can be a deduction. Many of your expenses can help you get a bigger tax refund. You can write off some of the tax liability from the W-2 job, from being an employee as a self-employed person having a side hustle. So if you do grass cutting on the side and you open an LLC and in the summertime you cut grass, but you really work as a baker the rest of the year, you really offset a lot of your tax liability. Especially like having a home office, buying a printer, traveling to conferences. You can write all of those things off. And those things will help you on your taxes. I feel like I might be talking about stuff that's boring, but I hope I'm being helpful.
I mean, it helps, and especially we have a lot of people now that are being entrepreneurs, so they have a side hustle.
Yeah.
So it's something you need to know. It's good info.
I forgot what the number is, but they said the number will increase almost like 50% of people will become entrepreneurs, whether it is self-employed on the side or self-employed solely by the year 2022 or 2021. I forgot exactly what it is, but more and more people are starting businesses, or whether it's a business on the side or a business where that's going to be their entire income. So it's important to understand how they balance out. And they have completely different tax brackets. Like I pay less in taxes than somebody that makes less money than me.
Yeah, the struggle is real. You know, it is difficult, and something I'm learning because I used to have a job, and you know, when you start just doing all on your own, you start realizing that the taxes hit different. So
they
hit different. So I'm trying to start being more savvy about what I write off, my records, everything.
Yeah, Miss Carol is. I love you. Let me see. Wait, I won't hit it too hard because it's okay. So Miss Carol says self-employed filers can write off home office expenses under the Schedule C, itemizing all of their expenses associated with their business. So Miss Carol, if you're just joining, owns Acceptance Capital. She's talking about Schedule C's, that's self-employed schedules associated with being self-employed. And in the mortgage process, Miss Carol or a mortgage broker will examine what you wrote off mainly, and I learned this when I was in the home buying process with Miss Carol, because some stuff that you write off on your taxes, I remember this, is not necessarily going to count against you in the home buying process, and they can actually add it back as income. So Miss Carol really understands these schedules, right off. And then she said you can write off your home office, and so you have to know the dimensions of your home office. You can't just say I have a home office. Don't come to me saying I have a home office, and I go, all right. You have to know the dimensions, and what I mean, measure it, how wide, how long it is. You know, if the receipts for your furnishings and your equipment or your office supplies and your computer, like what type of stuff do you house in there? If it's your inventory, you need the number for like your receipts or your invoices for your inventory. So what are you keeping in there? What are you using it? What's the name of your business? If you're writing off a home office, it has to be associated with work too.
You can't be having your dirty clothes in there.
No, you really can't.
Because they could come.
I've heard of people, like one lady, I don't remember where, it wasn't one of my clients, but a lady said she had a home office. She was writing it off every year, and it was a pretty big home office. And the IRS audited her one year and said, we want to see it. And they came, and it was actually, but the thing is, it was actually what she said it was. Okay. And so she had all the evidence, she had the receipts. They were like, oh. Yeah. But, you know, I think because she had a bathroom in it, and, you know, it was really nice. It was laid out, and she was using it. She had a back door for clients to come, you know, all of this stuff.
Very nice.
And so, you know, just make sure you are actually using it for what you say, because it's possible. But that's the other side. Okay, so let's take some questions. Hustle, motivate, move it down some. Says, if I have an LLC and I never use it yet, do I have to file something on it? If you don't have income, self-employed limits as of 2018, I'll research the 2019 limits. If you made under $600 as a self-employed individual, you do not have to file taxes. Last year, I think it was $5,000 or $6,000 for W-2 earners, which blows my mind. I'm like, why do I have to file? But okay, but that was on the IRS website. So if you have an LLC and you started it and you're working towards establishing your business, but you don't have any expenses or income, you don't have to file it because there's no income associated with it. But that's a good question. Let's see. And then, somebody sent a photo. I don't know.
Somebody in my DM.
Girl, Melissa got up in the DMs while we on Instagram. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. She being vulnerable all 2020. Send us some DMs. Nothing too, I mean, you know, unless. I'm sorry. So Hustle Motivate said, how long do I have to keep a receipt for work K in my investment property? If you could ask that question again, Hustle Motivate, how long do I have to keep receipts for work K in my investment property? For work, you need to keep your receipts The law used to be 7 years. Some laws I research every year. I try to keep abreast of it. But it used to be 7 years for audit purposes. I actually called the IRS one time and they said there's no, oh no, that's if you owe them money. There's no statute of limitations if you owe the IRS money anymore. Ain't that cool? It used to be 7 years for that too. But you can keep it might have been 5 years. I'm getting all confused. But keep your documents between 7 and 5 years. I'll give you the exact number. I haven't researched that in a while. We keep stuff on file for a year for you, but after that, keep your stuff in your keep your files for up to 7. I keep mine for about
7 years is good.
Yeah, I keep mine about 7, and then I flush out everything. But 5 to 7 years is a good benchmark to where they can come back and audit. Is what I'm saying, and it might be even little as 3. But just keep everything for, and then flush it out. But I think it's really around 5. But I'll look into it.
I guess Miss Carol probably won't know that.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't think that one changes. I know they implemented a law around 2015, 2016, where the IRS used to have a statute of limitations where they could come after you for money, but they changed that. There's no statute of limitation. Like
you owe them for life.
It's like school loans now, and I was like, that's cold-blooded, but it used to be 7 years. But yeah, so keep your documents as it associates with your taxes. Just keep it all together. I wish I could look it up. Okay. Well, look, Miss Carol is on here.
Thank you, Miss Carol.
Okay, Miss Carol is talking about depreciation. Depreciation expense is a paper write-off only if you purchase an automobile. So she's talking about depreciation. Hey, Sunny. Depreciation expense is a paper write-off only. So if you purchase an automobile and you depreciated the car because the value drops every year, that's a depreciation expense. Mortgage lenders will add this back to your income because it was not. Oh, because I was talking about. So I'll explain what that is. So Miss Carol is on Facebook winning. So when I was in the home buying process, Miss Carol, this is before I decided to start a tax company, was telling me that some expenses, is not, when you write it off, it's just you wrote it off on your taxes, but it really doesn't count as anything. And in the mortgage process, it doesn't count against your income. It doesn't impact your income as it does on your taxes. And so she's listing the type of things that in the mortgage process, the home buying process, don't count against your income. So she's talking about depreciation of an automobile doesn't count against you, especially if you're using it for your business. I'm glad my skin looks all right because I'm all in your face. Mortgage lenders will add this back to your income because it is not a physical expense, only a paper loss, meaning you didn't actually lose the income. So she's talking about some depreciation expenses during the home buying process don't count against you. And what I mean by count against you, if on paper when filing your taxes, I get your income down to $22,000 because of, hopefully not for the home buying process, but I'm gonna say 42,000 for your taxes. And 3,000 of that was due to depreciation. Miss Carol Johnson of Acceptance Capital is saying for her mortgage purposes, you're still at 45.
Oh, okay.
That's what she means.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Carol.
Yeah, thank you for that information.
Because I didn't even think to talk about that.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, that's what that's something that people don't know too, that some income, especially when you're doing schedules and depreciations, which is a lot of times associated with self-employed income, and sometimes also on W-2 employees, depending on what you have, depreciation won't count against you for home buying process. But get with your mortgage broker too. I always suggest this a little bit because your mortgage broker will kind of let you know where you are before you even enter into your taxes and things like that.
They give you a pre-approval usually.
Yeah.
They'll review your taxes and let you know what's needed.
And what's needed and where you are, if you should wait and file another year to be eligible. Or if you should amend because you did some stuff that really you got.
I think I have a text message. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay. But yeah, so that's a really good one.
Any questions? Anybody have questions?
Because I'm talking down. Make sure you go to www.squaremcgarrytaxprep.com to schedule your appointment or see the addresses to do a walk-in. All next week we have regular hours on the West Bank, and then the one in the back of Community Book Center opens on January 16th for all of my downtown people, East Gentilly people, January 16th. West Bank, we've been rolling. I ain't gonna lie, I'm from the other side, but the West Bank. She got the Android that's all shining.
Yeah, the West
They've
Bank
been getting their taxes done, you know.
We fast.
You know.
And you can use code Melissa for $75 off your preparation.
Yes, code Melissa, $75. That's easy to remember, Melissa. You don't even gotta remember code Melissa 869-1234. It's just it's just Melissa. How easy is that? You can do lowercase or uppercase.
Yeah.
And so yes, and then we have a mortgage broker that's on here. So we have a
realtor. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to you. A realtor.
Yes.
Soon to be
a broker.
Thank you.
Soon, that I'm working on.
And then we have our mortgage broker,
yes.
Miss Carol Johnson, Acceptance Capital, who is hip to the game. Miss Carol's been doing mortgages for like 30 years.
Does she do taxes too?
No.
She's just knowledgeable.
She needs to refer her people to me. But you know, you see all of that all the time.
Yeah, so you know it so well.
When I was thinking about starting a tax business, I actually went to Miss Carol and got her thoughts.
Really?
Yep, she was telling me.
She knows it like she does taxes herself.
Yeah, she told me she thought it was good. Make sure I was all the way legit and legal because the IRS kicked down people's doors. Oh, no. She gave me the full game.
So if there's one thing I'm scared of the IRS.
I'm not, and I'm thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Well, not you.
But you can set up payment plans if you owe them. You know, if you have issues with the IRS, maybe you work for yourself.
I'm about to talk about that. I'm about to dispel this. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I'm not scared of the IRS. I'm going to tell you why. Because I learned the money game.
Okay.
I learned it. I'm not even being funny. Oh, Miss Carol said she's been in the business for 40 years.
Okay.
That's a blessing.
All right.
40 years. That
you gotta represent.
Okay, what is the beeping? Sunday. I know. I hope it's not knowing. I stopped hearing it. So the beeping before I talk about the IRS. The beeping noise. So we have a commercial lease in this space, right? This is we're situated in Jackson's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So don't be fussing at me when I begin to talk. So we're situated, the West Bank office is situated across from Jackson Landing's leasing office. And so it was another leasing space, like a leasing office, but now it's a tax office. And we have the alarms for the entire facility in our building, and the contractors keep coming out. And somebody triggered it a few months ago, and they can't figure out how to completely shut it off. So I don't hear it though. I'm a buyer.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, like once you're in it, you don't hear it. I think when you first tune in, you hear it. But you know, Sunny, you hear it everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Even the spirit. Yeah, that's even the spirit stuff. I mean, like, did you know that already? Did you know? Malika said they take all of your money. So back to the IRS. I'm not scared of the IRS, and I'm not even being funny, even though I be cracking boo jokes, because I learned the money game. And so I don't know why. I just want to show this too. This is the number. Somebody texted me asking me to show the number. Okay. That's the flyer. You can call us, make an appointment. Anyway, I learned the money game, so I understand, and this is why I initially got into taxes for everybody. I started to learn and consume tons and tons of information on how to not owe the IRS and to keep my money. I also learned something, and I'm going to be vulnerable. You know, when all that stuff was happening with FEMA and Hurricane Katrina, and then they started coming after people for money that they paid people, and then they didn't, you know, all of this stuff. I went pretty much underground and investigated the IRS, and now they might come. Y'all might have me nervous.
Oh my God, you put this on a live.
I don't care. I mean, it's legal. It's out there. Like, Lord Jesus. No, I researched them because, you know, it's something they call bureaucratic. You know, and it's like bureaucracy of it is what kind of intimidates us. Like you have to go through all these channels and you think they know more than you. But the biggest way to dispel fear or get rid of fear is to become knowledgeable. So I went underground, not underground like on the black market, but I went underground, like I stopped focusing on different things and really started to digest a lot of information about the IRS and how the IRS works. When you understand how something works, you can play the game. So I didn't do anything illegal. I learned how the IRS works so that now I can have conversations with the IRS.
Because knowledge dispels that fear.
Yeah, not just the fear. Now when they say something and I go, wait, nope, that's not what it is. Yes. And so now once I learned how to play the game with the IRS or how to communicate with the IRS, then we were on the same plane. At that point, now they might be like, well, hold my cup, and then I was able to have conversations with them and understand how to interact with them and how to maneuver with them, who to call, how to, what time, like all of these things. And I've been able to not only help myself with past issues, I've been able to help, and Malika knows if I rate credit, baby, I be...
Because you helped me too. I was worried about it. You're like, no, call them. You know that you
do this. You can get a waiver. I know all of these processes. So even with tax clients, up until recently, I would do a lot of the audit help for people for free. Because it's like, girl, I got you. Just let me hold my cup. I'm going to help you with that. And people will, get out of it because we would know how to play the game with the IRS because of knowledge. So I'm not scared of the IRS because it's like, if you play the game properly, you legit, you legal, they really don't mess with you. They don't mess with you,
It's when you're doing things.
A lot of times it's when you are not knowledgeable and you're doing stuff you don't even know you're doing, and then you're also doing illegal stuff. But if you stay out of those areas and you really move according to their rules, you know how to play the game. Like you like they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. The player only playing the game. And so with the IRS and being an owner of a tax business, I'm playing the game with the IRS because I know the rules. And then when you know the rules, you can start to kind of
maneuver different.
Get all kind of money. Like Jay-Z says, because of my accountant, I like a little rap,
Me too.
Jay-Z said on a song with Meek Mills, and I think Rick Ross, one of my favorite songs. He said, because of my account, I don't even pay taxes. He ain't said I'm scared of the IRS, and we know Jay-Z getting money. So when you learn the money game, no fear, money. No fear, money.
Yeah, it's all a game.
It's a game, and it's about the money.
Yeah.
What Sunday said? Quote me. Sonny said, I'm not scared of the IRS because I learned the money game.
That's right. The money game. So we teaching the money game.
I'm teaching the money game. I want everybody to get all the money. Get all the money. And so get all the money and either buy your first home, second home, investment properties. Let us do your taxes so you can buy some more. And just keep reinvesting because it's time to, change the idea about money.
And it's really, and I'm joking and everything, but really at the end of the day, if you're owing them, that means that you're making more money. That means you're making more money, and you just have to plan ahead. So if you're owing, if that means doing quarterly payments, there's different things you can do.
I didn't want to cut you off. Like two things. So I saw a lady that I follow on Instagram said last year she owed $100,000 and she was happy to write the check. You know how much money she had to make to owe $100,000? Right. I was like, yes. Yeah. I had a client call the other day whose income is in six figures. I forgot it. Well, I remember. I don't want to put a business down. But she makes about well over six figures, and she doesn't even pay taxes throughout the year. She gets all her money up front, which I always recommend. And she puts money on the side, a few $1,000s on the side throughout the year to just write the check. And then all year she's living off all her money. Right. And so,
if you plan ahead, you'll be fine.
Plan ahead, and I always recommend that. So I always give you, once you come in, you either come in or you schedule a virtual appointment or both, and you want to come in later, I'll give you the full game, no extra charge. So, Emerald Gray Custom says, "What's your info money lady?" Right here. Let's see, I'm about to do it like this. So, this is not just me plugging myself, although I do love plugging myself. This is the phone number right here.
504-517-5581
is the number for the office. Today we're not going to be in, but you can still schedule your appointment. And then on Instagram is Square McGarry Tax. And then the website is www.squaremcgarrytaxprep.com. And so I'm going to do it on Facebook. Wait.
504-517-5581.
Look, I got a low.
Y'all see it? And if I could just intercept for a second.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about money, actually. So we talk a lot about money, our mindset about money, because that's something I think just growing up, we weren't really taught that.
No,
and we heard things like money don't grow on trees, or
yes, it does.
There's different negative things about money, and so she's been working with me a lot about kind of overcoming those things. And really, if you look at it differently, if you owe taxes, like we said, that means you're making more money. Or if you have, we talked about like the percentages, like commission percentages.
Yeah.
And one thing you said was if you're writing bigger checks, that means you're making bigger money.
You can't write a big check if you ain't making no money. Like right now I got payroll. And I don't have no stress about it because this is what I asked for too. And then I asked to be able to hire 2 people in 2019. I actually hired 4. And so then I need to hire at least 2 or 3 more people now. So if y'all need a job too. And so in order to be able to pay that, we have to be making money. And if I'm making enough money to pay that many people that quickly, there are no complaints. And then when you move, that's a whole nother lie. When you move out of fear around money, you actually attract more money. And I work
We should do that next time.
Yes.
We should talk about that.
And then Malika Honore can testify because we worked for years about that. Breaking past your own barriers around money. But when you have that fear around money, you don't attract money, you attract fear.
And even if you get it,
you spend it all. Yeah. You're afraid of it.
You don't know how to handle it. You're scared of it.
You feel guilty.
You push it away.
Yeah, you feel guilty about having money. So you get rid of a lot of that. People get uncomfortable and cringe a bit when I say, "Oh, I love a coin, baby. I love it. Just rain down." One of my dreams that I talked about with one of my West Bank partners for the tax business, the lady that helped us get the location. Was that I just want us all to be able to just roll around in money in our bed and say that's my dream. No, it don't have to be your dream. Your dream could be smoothies, but for me it's just it grows on trees in my mind. So
and it's you hear a lot of people saying, well, the love of money is, but it's not. That's
none
not
of that.
It
That's not it. It's not the love.
You need money to live.
I used money this morning to eat fish, and it wasn't in Jesus.
You use money to help other people, so it's not.
I employed people. So for me, I try to put my friends on. I'm gonna answer those, and I'll answer whatever. I try to put my friends on. I try to you try to bring people to the revolution. And then I'll hire people. I give back. Yesterday I was in Chinese kitchen. Don't judge me. I was hungry and I had to get to a meeting. But I was in Chinese kitchen and this lady came in with 3 of her grandkids. And I had one plate. My lunch was probably $10. And she was in there. She was such a nice lady. Because of my desire to help others, I paid for all of their food. And it may not be huge to some, and it may be huge to others, but this lady almost cried. And she had all of her grandkids, 3 of her grandkids in there, and they were, the lady was so sweet. But the reason I was able to do that is, one, because I'm attracting abundance, and then also I don't mind helping and sharing. So it's not, I have more than enough. I ate this morning, I bought her food, and I still ate today. My lights was on. I had gas to get over here.
Yeah.
So, it's abundance.
One of my goals is, I put my daughter through Catholic school, private school, and that was a struggle as a single mom. And one of my goals is I want to be able to pay a single mom's tuition for her child because I want to be able to help somebody else. And I can't do that without money.
Thank you.
I can't do it without money. I can't do it if I'm scared to pay the IRS because I'm making more money.
Right.
But that's my goal.
You're going to make me cry. And Sunny talked about one of the myths that you hear is the rich get richer and the poor get poor. That's mindset. Mindset from the words, hearing the words, well, I can't get nothing because the rich have it all. That's not true. And then Miss Carol said the small business owners are collectively the largest payroll providers, meaning they employ the largest number of people.
Right.
Small business owners. So to be able to go out, start a business, it just came to mind to not share your gift with the world is selfish. And I talk a lot about this on the lives that I did with Sonny Patterson all 2019. To not share your gift with the world is selfish. So if you have something that you're scared to share with the world or start a business, I was able to help people get jobs. I interviewed a lady the other day that said she hasn't been able to find a job and she's been looking for months.
So and you're blessing her.
And she was like, oh my God, thank you. And so, but all that to say about money and understanding the money game, you don't really have to have fear, because even down to even if you don't want to sit and research it, I like researching, opening yourself up to attract people who may have the answers that you need. Because every day, especially when I take the calls, we get people on the phone that say, oh my God, this was so helpful. And I said I would start doing the video testimonies that Malika Honorary told me I should start doing. But oh my God, this was so helpful. And so, come to us, help. If you have questions, we're more than willing. You can walk in next week on the West Bank. Full hours on the West Bank next week. Bayou Road opens up on the 16th. And then the virtual appointments, you can schedule those whenever they're available, whenever you're available, and come in. But I don't want to get off without going through, because you have
I think we went through most of the stuff. It's a tax shelter. It helps you, especially if you're doing investment properties, and also you need those taxes to actually buy a home. And one thing we talked about recently was once you get a refund, because a lot of us get refunds. And you brought up something how the refund actually is designed to get you out of poverty.
It is. No, Malika said that.
Malika
said we had a seminar. We started our Smart Money seminars. Malika said the refund was invented because there's a lot of things we don't understand in history that, society makes us think something's wrong with us. But the refund was actually to help you be able to make a big purchase. And not like big purchase, like a big TV or another car or something like that, but to get out of debt or get out of poverty. There's a lot of home buying incentives, and you can use your refund actually as your down payment.
Right. It's very smart to do. Or like we were talking about credit, like a lot of the people we talked to kind of had credit issues, collections. You can actually use that tax refund to maybe pay some of those things off to get your credit where
or get you a credit repair specialist. And we partner with Honorary Credit to be able to help you pay for some of your credit repair for 6 months. And so ask us how.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons why, people will get frustrated and scared about the tax process. Get with some people that can help you to file your taxes and file them correctly. So that you can start making moves in life and not have these lingering, frustrating feelings. Like right now, I probably got one or two, but it ain't. What Jay-Z? I don't know why Jay-Z on my mind. I don't even.
Jay-Z is where it's at.
Nas is my favorite rapper, but Jay-Z said I got 99 problems and that ain't none of them. But I do have a few cash.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's.
But you know what? We did talk about this. We were gonna do I think we should name it Smart Money. Seminar because we're trying to put together a seminar.
You're so good at remembering that.
Because I don't know, because they'd be at the top of my mind. But we want to do that end of January.
We need to just create a date.
Probably February.
You want to start a date, or are you scared to do it?
I'm scared, but
I would say let's do it.
I'm thinking probably February.
February is good because everybody have their W-2s by then.
But I'm thinking we could do it. We could call it Smart Money. We could have Honorary Credit. Because how many of you guys want to find out about kind of improving your credit?
So all the seminars we did last year were called Smart Money, right?
Oh, no.
But no, we can call it Smart Money. We could 2.0.
You did it with something?
No. I did with Malika and Kelly McFadden and Marquita McGarry. We can do it 2.0.
Yeah. Okay. So we put that into the atmosphere right on the live. We actually we were going to do a home buyer seminar, but I think we should do Smart Money because I think
and
that's
they have mortgage brokers in the building.
And insurance, all that.
I love it. Who's coming?
Yeah.
Who's coming?
Who wants to know how to get your credit together, how to get your taxes together, everything.
We're doing it.
To get your money right in 2020.
And then Melissa said I need to stain the floor, like literally stain the floor.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm gonna do it.
I see some hearts. What?
Sunny Patterson pull hearts.
Okay, that's so nice.
Such
love
a
into the
sweetheart.
atmosphere. I love it.
And Ms. Carol said, use your tax-free fund to invest in purchase property, best investment you can make. So Ms. Carol of Acceptance Capital said your refund is your best investment. Investment into property. And so I'd like to, tell people it doesn't, because, people will say, I know Ms. Carol told me this, and I think about this sometimes. She said her first property was a double. Some people's first properties are quadruplexes and stuff like that. And that's just an investment property that you can also live in, and that can qualify as your first home.
Yep, with a low down payment.
With a low down payment, and it counts as income towards the purchase of the home. So, there's all kind of ways that you can make money with buying property. My next to do is commercial property, and
on my 2020 vision board, I have another investment property for 2020. I have to. I can't let this year go by without buying one. And you remember, like they would ask this question: what would you tell to your 20-year-old self or to your younger self? And one thing that I would say to my younger self, I wish the very first property I bought was an investment property, whether it be a duplex, a fourplex. I think it's the smartest thing that you can do to grow your money. All millionaires, all successful people invest in real estate.
Such a realtor. What I would have told, and I wrote a whole blog on this, I might have to reshare it. What I would have told my 20-year-old self is leave them alone.
That too. That's a whole nother subject. Maybe we need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. We talk about taxes and real estate, so I'm not going to. That's an hour-long subject.
Go. You don't have to deal with him. Yeah. Leave him after the first date.
Yeah.
Boo.
Don't
crazy.
Don't do it, boo.
You all that heartbreak for the run. I should have just wrote the whole blog just big R-U-N run. Crazy, That's what I'd have told my 20-year-old self. But I also understand. Because around that time, and then we're gonna end with this because we talking. Unless y'all have questions.
Because we get into a whole nother level right now.
But let me say this first. Because Katrina hit when I was in my 20s, and I remember the guy I was dating, and and that's also waiting for somebody else to approve your dreams and goals. Back then, I liked money. And so people were going to New Orleans buying tons of property. And I had money. Then I was so young, I didn't understand what to do with a lot of it. I did better than most. I started investing. But I asked him, I said, don't you want to go to New Orleans? We can go buy some property. Like, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And he was like, there ain't nobody doing all that.
See, you should have broke up with him right then and there.
You stupid mother.
Yeah. Then we got Ricky Carew. He's a real estate mogul in Alabama. He's like the top agent in that area.
She said Ricky Carew. What? All right, Ricky, thank you for coming on.
We actually got a couple questions.
Yeah, so Fire Cat Eyes. Isn't she was on that side?
Yeah.
Thank you, Fire Cat
Eyes.
It says, is property available in that price range? I don't know what price range.
What price range?
Are you talking about when I was talking about the income on your taxes, like $45,000? Or use the money to renovate and invest? Or you mean refund? Could you tell us if you mean your refund from your taxes or your income from the year? Like what price range? Ms. Carol, remember real estate investments is the quickest way. So Ms. Carol said real estate, tax refunds. Ms. Carol Johnson of Acceptance Capital says, remember real estate investments is the quickest way to wealth. She ain't lying because I was watching something with Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's created a whole conglomerate. And a major portion of his wealth is real estate. And he talks
to anybody.
Yeah, and he talks about how he uses his money, he flips it, and he does all kind of stuff, and study the people that's done it. But so Cat Eye says, so no, you can't. So we're not saying you can buy up. Well, you could buy some.
You got a big enough tax refund.
You sure could. But what we're saying is, like, when you go to get your loan, you can use it as a down payment. Like sometimes your loan officer will require you to put money down. You can use a portion of your tax refund to put that money down, and you don't have to figure out how to come up with, however many thousands. And then you might even have some left over to do the renovations and stuff like that. But you could possibly buy, you never know.
You could, and just to say how it goes. So with a FHA loan, because most of the first time
Talk about it.
Yeah, girl. most of the first time home buyer grants, they actually require you to buy a single family house. But if you do FHA, which is a low down payment, 3.5% down payment, you can buy up to 4 units. So you could buy a fourplex with that. So the way that works, let's say you buy it for $100,000. Your down payment would be, what is that, $3,500, right?
Yeah.
Your down payment would be $3,500.
Yeah.
So a lot of us get tax refunds that are more than that. So you can use that to buy yourself a fourplex that you can hold on to for the rest of your life. Or
Pass
you can
down
sell it
to
or
your
whatever.
kids.
And that's something that can bring you income. Let's say you're getting $500 per unit that pays for your mortgage and then some.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying. Use that tax refund as a down payment on a house, or better yet, an investment property. I would prefer investment property, but hey, just buy yourself some real estate where you're not paying somebody else rent and helping somebody else become wealthy.
So Instagram is about to kick us off. Go to www.squaremcgarrytax